I
we
wish
could
I
bring your
could
dog to the
explain
con.
Thor. I wish that I could explain to people what he's like, but I just don't think it's possible. I've
He's his
known
own
Bryce
being.
since I've had this dog, and I've tried to explain him, but I don't think that Bryce really got it until he met him.
He loves
Got
me.
to spend time with him. That's true.
Thor fucking
You let him bite
adores
your
me.
hands.
Yeah, he bites my hands. Well, it's weird when I say he loves me and then I start with he bites my hands. But he really that's like a thing he does. Like he kind of has this thing where like the dark passenger in him takes over. And like he'll be totally nice and normal, and then he wants to play, and he loses all sight of what the world is like. He starts like biting and scratching, and he goes crazy. But if he thinks or realizes he hurts you once, it ruins tonight. Like, so you really have to pretend he's not biting the shit out of your hand. It's really funny because he has three phases during the dark passenger mode. He has going crazy, which is kind of like the zoomies, but imagine if the zoomies, instead of running around, it was biting your hand, and it's kind of like he's biting your hand, and you're like shaking your hand, like throwing him back and forth, and like he kind of like, that's the only way I can think to describe it. Then there's the licking phase, which is where he thinks he's hurt you, and so he just starts licking you over and over and over, and he will not stop until you reactivate the playing modes phase. And by reactivate, I mean you put your hand back in his mouth, and you start to shake your arm again, and he starts to go crazy again. Then there's the third phase. This is not a specific phase. It is spliced in randomly. So he'll be biting you, and then he starts humping you furiously. He just has to get it out of him. And then you shake your arm, and then you get him off, and he licks you. And then he goes from licking to humping. Like he's like, it's very strange. He'll be in the middle of like biting and playing, and all of a sudden he's like, holy shit, and he goes, and he like starts like humping you like crazy, and you gotta like get him off. He's a good dog.
There are also times where you'll tell him to stop, and you can tell that he's trying. Like, he's making every effort in his body to not do it, but he's just like shaking.
He'll
like,
literally sit there
shaking,
like looking, and you can tell he wants to be a good dog so bad. Like he doesn't want to get in trouble. But the problem is if you upset the balance even the slightest bit, it's you've undone all the progress in settling him down.
Also, Thor, this is the Thor episode of the stream. He's really stubborn about like everything. Even if he like sometimes he'll make up his mind that he wants to walk a certain path. Like he wants to walk in between the couch and like somebody's legs. And if he can't do it, he just sits there and fucking whines.
There's a really funny situation. This is the one time he was at my house, and me and my Amy were on the couch, and this is right after I broke my ankle, and the coffee table was in front of us. And our feet were, on the floor, so it was like there wasn't really much room to walk. And he decided that instead of walking around the coffee table, he wanted to walk in front of our feet and between the coffee table. And this is like what he had decided. And there was he just like, he tried, he like literally bumped his head into my legs a few times. And he like sat there and he's like, if you attempt to make any adjustment to help him, it actually only pisses him off. So if you go, okay, I know he wouldn't want to walk around the table, I'm going to move the coffee table so he has more room. That he doesn't like that. That's like, it's like you're triggering some kind of like, what, do you think I can't do it in him? And so in this time, I remember like Miami raised her legs up and I raised my legs up and I start to push the coffee table and he was like, no. And he just ran through it as quick as he could and just slammed his head into my fucking broken ankle and just like barreled past. Just did not, he was like he had to get out before I helped him. And then he just ran away. He also,
he's a good dog.
Some other quirks of him that I've learned. Let me see if I can, I'm going to just try and name Thor quirks, Scott. Okay. So he likes doors being open to the point where if he comes over my house, first thing he has to do is he has to go upstairs and open all my doors. If he cannot open one of our doors, he sits there and cries until someone comes up and opens one of the doors for him. I don't know why. 2, he will not eat if the door next to him is not open. Like Scott's office is next to where his food bowl is. True. So if you give him food, he won't eat. I'm trying to think. There are more. He eats grass, but that's a more common dog thing. Oh, another one.
I've seen him eat grass and poop at the same time. That's a really funny visual.
This is one thing that I feel like I've experienced more than Scott just because of how many times he has to run up the steps first. If you bring him in or if you like come down, he will say like when me and Amy come in to Scott's house, because the entrance to Scott's house there's a big set of stairs that take you all the way to the top. So he'll run all the way down to greet us. Half the time he'll fall. Because he has like no like hand paw coordination. And like he'll run all the way down, he'll get to us and be like, "Oh my god, you guys are here! I'm so excited!" He'll run behind us and be like, "Oh my god, I'm so excited!" And then he'll run all the way upstairs. Like he'll like sprint past us to the point where if I'm trying to walk, if there's not enough room, he'll just do that thing where he's made up his mind and he'll just push past us and just go all the way up top. And he's scared of the trash can.
Yeah, that's the one I was trying to think of. Is he? Yeah, I have this trash can in my kitchen, and it has an electric lid, so you like hover over it, and it opens automatically, and it's pretty tight. For some reason, he is terrified of this lid. Like anytime, sometimes I'll like if I'm changing the garbage bag, I'll put it in the floor. He won't walk by it. The layout is like, so you have a bar here, the wall's here, you have like a bar. This is the kitchen area. Like this is the sink and whatnot. This is the living room, and my couch is right here. Okay, the trash can goes right here. Sometimes I'll take the lid off and put it right here while I'm changing the trash can lid. And so Thor, he will not walk this way. He will stop right here and just cry because the lid is right here. And he's afraid that if he walks by it, it'll open automatically. I've actually seen him when we go over to Bryce's house, he will stop and he won't walk near Bryce's trash can because he doesn't know that Bryce's isn't electric.